There was a time when owning BlackBerry meant power, class, and connection. From business moguls to celebrities, everyone had one. That glowing trackball, that BBN ping. It wasn't just a phone, it was a lifestyle. But in the blink of an eye, the same brand that defined communication became history. So how did BlackBerry rise to rule the world only to vanish like it never existed? It all started in 1984 inside a small lab at the University of Waterloo, Canada, where two electrical students, Mike Lazardis and Douglas Fredgin, were tinkering with circuits and code. They didn't know it yet, but what they were building wasn't just a device, it was a doorway into the future of mobile communication. With barely any money, a handful of parts, and a dream that outgrew their dorm room, they founded a small company called Research in Motion, or RIM for short. At first, it was just contracts, building LED displays for General Motors, experimenting with wireless signals for Roger Communications. But each project pulled them closer to one big question. What if we could send messages without cables? By 1996, the curiosity gave birth to something revolutionary, a two-way pager. It could send and receive messages, something the world had never seen before. That small black device, compact, reliable, and futuristic, became a hit among business professionals. Emails on the go. It sounded impossible until Research in Motion made it real. 3 years later, in 1999, they unveiled the BlackBerry 850, the device that would change everything. It wasn't flashy, but it had something no one else had mastered: instant wireless email. Executives could now send messages in real time, respond instantly, and make decisions before meetings even began. The world had entered the stage of mobility. What started as two students chasing a school project suddenly became a billion-dollar movement. And just like that, the BlackBerry era began. The era of clicks, messages, and prestige. By the early 2000s, BlackBerry wasn't just a gadget anymore. It was a movement. In corporate stores and campus corridors alike, people were glued to those tiny glowing screens, their thumb dancing to the rhythm of endless emails and pings. That addiction earned it a new name, Crackberry, because once you owned one, you couldn't let it go. For business executives, it was the ultimate weapon. For politicians, it was security. And for celebrities, it was style. From Kim Kardashian to Barack Obama, from the Wall Street to Lagos Island, the BlackBerry became the global language of power and prestige. Its full keyboard, that little blinking red light, the unmistakable BBM burst, and it all made communication feel alive. BlackBerry Messenger wasn't just texting, it was a club. If you didn't have a PIN, you didn't belong. Inside that world, messages felt private, fast, and exclusive, long before WhatsApp or Telegram were even ideas. But beneath the glory, something dangerous was growing, and that was comfort. BlackBerry believed it had reached the top of the mountain. They had the loyalty, the reputation, and the market, so what could possibly go wrong? The answer would come really fast and very hard. It was January 9, 2007. A man in a black turtleneck walked onto a stage in California, calm, smiling, and confident. His name is Steve Jobs. His word that day would shake the very foundation of the tech world. Today, we are introducing 3 revolutionary products: a widescreen iPod with touch control, a revolutionary phone, and a breakthrough internet communicator. These are not separate devices. This is one device, and we are calling it the iPhone. For the audience, it was magic. For BlackBerry, it was the beginning of an earthquake. And while Steve Jobs unveiled the future, the team in Waterloo didn't panic. They saw Apple's iPhone as a toy, something for consumers, not professionals. After all, who would trade a full keyboard for a screen with no button? But the world was changing faster than they could see. As Apple redefined design, experience, and simplicity, BlackBerry stayed the same. The email phone, the business phone, the safe phone. But the world wanted more. They wanted cameras, color, apps, and music. Things BlackBerry called distractions. Then came 2008 and BlackBerry's answers to the iPhone, the BlackBerry Storm. It looked like an iPhone, but it wasn't ready. Laggy software, a strange clickable touchscreen, poor performance. Millions bought it and millions returned it. It was supposed to be their comeback. Instead, it was their warning shot. By 2011, BlackBerry global sales had peaked, almost 50 million phones sold. But just beneath that peak, a quiet landslide had begun. The iPhone wasn't just a product anymore, it was a culture. And Android had joined the war. BlackBerry for the first time was losing the very people it once inspired. At first, no one wanted to believe it. BlackBerry was still everywhere. On desk, in pockets, in airports, in boardrooms. The red notification light still blinked. The BBM tone still echoed. But beneath the surface, the cracks had begun to spread. Competitors were evolving. Apple, Samsung, and a new army of Android phones that gave users what BlackBerry wouldn't: apps, touch, and freedom. The world had moved on from typing emails to sharing photos, streaming songs, and swiping screens. But BlackBerry stayed trapped in its old glory, still chasing the business class, ignoring the general crowd. They had built their empire around keyboard and refused to let go of it. By 2011, they were still selling tens of millions of phones, but not because they were winning, because their loyal fans hadn't realized the war was already lost. In places like Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya, the BlackBerry craze burned bright. People traded BBM pin like currency, joined group chats that never slept, and typed till dawn. But even Africa, which was once their last stronghold, would eventually shift. And when WhatsApp came, the pins went silent. Then came 2013. The company changed the name from Research in Motion to simply BlackBerry, hoping to revive its brand. But the name change couldn't fix the storm inside. Phones were returning unsold, servers were failing, and apps developers had long moved on. By 2016, the inevitable happened. BlackBerry stopped making phones altogether. The brand that once symbolized connection had disconnected from the world. The lights went out, no press conference, no grand farewell, just silence, where the ping used to be. When the final BlackBerry phones left the shelves in 2016, it felt like the end of an era, and in a way, it was. The world had moved on to touchscreens, emojis, and app stores, but the company behind the brand refused to die quietly. Because beneath the hardware, BlackBerry still had something others didn't have, and that is security. The same encryption that once made BBM untouchable became their lifeline. And instead of fighting Apple and Samsung on design, BlackBerry turned inward, reinventing itself as a software and cybersecurity powerhouse. They no longer wanted to be in your pocket, they wanted to protect the system around you. And by 2019, BlackBerry had quietly evolved into something new. It acquired $1 billion artificial intelligence company called Cylance, expanding into threat detection and digital defense. And while the world thought BlackBerry was gone, its technology lived on, powering hospitals, government, and even cars. Today, over 215 million vehicles run on BlackBerry software, securing everything from navigation to braking system. It is no longer about messages, it is about protection. But for those who once owned a BlackBerry, the story still lingers like a memory. The click of the keyboard, the flashing light, the late night pings. BlackBerry didn't just build a phone, it built a feeling. And though the feeling may have faded, it left a mark no touchscreen could have ever replaced. And many people have been asking the question, are BlackBerry still making phones? The short answer is no. BlackBerry stopped building phones itself in 2016, then licensed the brand to TCL, the folks behind Q1, Q2. The deal ended in August 2020, with TCL confirming it no longer had the right to design or sell new BlackBerry branded device. After TCL, a US startup called Onward Mobility promised a 5G BlackBerry with a physical keyboard, but the project was cancelled in February 2022 and the company shut down. Around the same time, BlackBerry switched off legacy services for BlackBerry OS 10 devices. Clocks, calls, SMS, and other core functions are no longer reliable. So what are those new BlackBerry people talk about? They are lookalikes and homage. Android phones with QWERTY keyboards, for example the UniHeart Titan series, a small revival project not licensed by BlackBerry. They echo the vibe, not the brand. Where BlackBerry really lives now is in software, security, enterprise tool, and the QNX platforms inside cars and critical systems. The quiet infrastructure instead of loud pings. The phone glory was gone. The engineering legacy remains. And that's the twist. The device that once lived in your pocket now lived behind your dashboard and networks, protecting the world you type and swipe every day. But BlackBerry didn't vanish completely. It evolved. From building phones to protecting the digital world, its softwares now power millions of cars, securing government systems, and safeguarding industries. The company no longer fights for your attention, it protects it. Still, for many of us, BlackBerry will always mean something different. It was the sound of a new message in the middle of the night. It was friendship, business, connection, all in one click. It was a little light blinking in your hand, reminding you that someone somewhere was reaching out. The phones may be gone, but the feelings, that one will live forever. So what is your thought about BlackBerry? For those of us that use BlackBerry, let me know which BlackBerry you used back in the day. Let me know which BlackBerry you used, and let me know what you actually loved about BlackBerry and how proud you were to actually be using that product, that design that you were using back in the day. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Do well to subscribe. Click that subscribe button and go and check out my video on To Go. Check out my other videos on my page. Do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share. See you in the next.